Searching podcasts for Dave, and one more time.
And 3.
Number 2.
1.
Woohoo!
America. You are
You're welcome.
welcome. 100% welcome. We're back. Shouldn't have doubted us. It's weird. Our timing's off. We didn't want a day late last time. We're doing it a day early this time. They're not seeing it a day early. We're just doing it a day early. Confused enough? I am. Hi, everybody. How are you? I'm Dave.
I'm Juan.
And this is Dave and Juan.
More time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you kindly. Right off the bat, we hope that our friends and family and peeps down in South Louisiana are powered up again and able to even hear us or see us.
I think it seems to have been I'm not saying for everybody, but it seems to have been a fairly quick recovery as
Not
far
so
as
much.
power.
Yeah, and as soon as and for those of you that are still or have gone many days, I know as of today I was reading, and we're doing this on a Saturday. Timestamp this. We're doing this on the Saturday following Hurricane Francine. There were still some folks this morning, I believe, various parts of South Lafourche without power, and so yeah, that bites. It's one of those things you go from having this just 2 months ago, having that happen here, right? You go,
Yeah.
you get the initial, you're not bothered, and you realize, hey, it just takes time to get the power back on, and then our patience goes away.
Yeah, I guess I judge everything based on, me.
The fact your lights blinked once or twice.
And mine never blinked at all, dude. And I was kind of ticked because I lugged that by eye. I mean, my wife and my daughter lugged the generator out from the corner of the garage, and yeah, I had it all ready to go. But my dad got power the next day, so that was quick.
He was quick. Yeah.
But I was I was in Morgan City yesterday, just out and about with a friend of mine who works in the roofing business. Probably a lot of people there are still without power.
So here's the deal, too. Now that storm was weird, and those of you that people, most of the folks, our friends that listen and watch this podcast, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I knew when I was in Louisiana for the Saints game last weekend, and right before we left, they were projecting us, Houston,
Mm-hmm.
right, Houston to maybe Beaumont.
Yeah.
Was where they were calling for it. And of course, we all know by the time it was said and done, even Jim Cantore missed it. Jim Cantore, you always know where they really think it's going because that's where they stick his butt. So he was camped out in Morgan City, and he got the western eye wall. So, but look, and I know it's the game. And we've joked with our buddy Rick, who's a cameraman for WAFB. One of these days, I will remember it without having to check with you. We clown around about the visuals they create. Cantore was just big time. He was a big time weather whore this time, man. He always is kind of. But did you see the footage?
I didn't see much of him. I watched more of the local stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, he stuck himself basically up on I don't know what exactly it was, but he was standing near a lake, right? As wide open as you can get.
Oh, he was by, because I talked to people in Morgan City when I was down there. He was by Lake Palourde, which is a very open, but very shallow lake. And any wind, if you're a boater and have ever gone out to Lake Palourde, it's the same thing with Lake Verret, shallow. So if there's a decent wind, the lake's choppy. Rough to begin with.
Yeah. So, and again, I understand they do it for the visual, they do it for TV, but it's annoying. It just is. It's like, yeah, dude, you're out there standing. I don't want to cheer for something to fly loose and hit you, but I mean, come on, man. We don't need that. And then you could tell he had his wind gauge out there. right? And he kept holding it like, oh man, he was fighting it,
Yeah,
and I guess he couldn't
gonna
lie.
get Tommy Johns or something in the elbow from
And
stressing against the wind.
the wind gauge was only reading like 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an
Yeah,
hour.
they had from, and this is from, yeah, again, if you had worse, forgive me, I'm not diminishing anything, but like I said, I was riding around with a buddy of mine looking for damaged roofs. There weren't a ton, and I get it. People, 3, 4 years ago had Hurricane Ida, so a lot of them probably have, better roofs, but a lot of a lot of yard debris, like tree
Sure,
leaves and stuff, but
sure.
you're not seeing, branches or fallen trees
Okay,
to a
yeah,
large extent.
everybody, it's Dave and Juan at protonmail.com. Address the hate emails directly to Juan. Directly, like in the subject matter, just it goes to Dave and Juan, but just say this one's for Juan
Well,
because,
like I said,
dude,
not saying
yeah, sitting in
everybody.
Baton Rouge, stop it, dude. I mean, I Nichols got beat up. Nichols
Yeah.
State Nichols State lost some parts of a roof on Go Hall. They got damage to Ellender dormitory, had some windows blown out. They had water inside Talbot I think in the broadcast studio. I don't know if it's
Oh wow.
broadcast studio or so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
they
on
had
the first floor.
correct. Yeah.
And
Uh,
Talbot's off the ground too, so
yeah. Yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna say it was probably
probably through the roof.
more than likely. And so we have, like I said, we've talked about before. We have a house right there. I mean,
Hmm.
literally on campus, and we were fortunate. It doesn't look like didn't look like major anything really major. Lost like a few crepe myrtle trees.
Hmm.
But what was and this is when too, it's hard enough when you're like so I went through a hurricane in this house here in Sugarland a couple months ago. Now when you're going through a hurricane in the house you're in, right? You can kind of keep yeah, you just kind of you're not in control of anything, but you can at least when you got another house in Thibodeau that I can't and then the cameras go out. So I can't, so I'm getting, updates from my nephew. One of my nephews
Yeah.
is there, and not from my son, which is funny. If I reach out to him, catch him, he might say, "Yeah, okay," But at least
You get that big detailed thing.
man. But so my nephew, and that's when you start getting worried. So it sends me a text mid storm, and they probably got. Well, let's put it this way: the eye of the storm went right through, I think, St. Charles, because my brother-in-law showed me a map of the line where it just traced, they basically traced the center of the eye,
Hmm.
and it just about dissected his house. So, I mean, it came, the storm. So I'm not sure what kind of winds they got on Audubon in that area, but they were pretty substantial. Um, and then my nephew sends me footage of in the kitchen of our house. There's water coming through the ceiling in the kitchen. There's a little crack near an area in the back door, and there's just a drip.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's what I told him. I said, yeah, I texted him. I said, well, here's the deal: houses are not made to be waterproof,
No.
especially with horizontal
Right. When the rain goes, sideways and
and
hits your
up.
window, hits a house, yeah, you got a weep hole on the house. It'll,
Well, even on a roof,
yeah, it could
it
go
blows
through some of
water.
those vents. Yeah.
It blows water up a roof. We had that here in my house in Sugarland for Hurricane Ike. After the next day, I went and I had water stains in one of the upstairs bathrooms. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh man, and expected to find a big hole or something in the roof. No, it just
Yeah.
what
We had that when we lived in Prairieville. It's probably, I don't know, it doesn't matter what, probably Hurricane Gustav. But so water went up through like a pipe on the roof and everything, and it leaked a little bit. And then I put a 5 gallon bucket up there, and it never happened again. And when we got the house inspected, when we sold it, that bucket was still there. And so then I had to get the roof inspected because they said, "Oh, evidence of a
there's a
leak
bucket.
here."
There's a reason
Yeah,
for a bucket. I
yeah.
know. Yeah, look, and then I get another text. Okay, honest questions, because and it said, so basically, Uncle Dave, is there a reason that the toilets wouldn't work right during a hurricane? And That's always a gut. That's always the one I'm worried about, right? Older houses, plumbing on older houses just
Yeah.
terrifies me. And that to explain, as a matter of fact, and this is what happened to us here in my own house a couple months ago in the middle of a storm. You got winds blowing outside, 50, 60, 70, 80 miles an hour, steady winds, and it messes with the vent pipes,
The
the
vent, so you're not getting any
vacuum.
air. So you basically, yeah, you're not.
So when
It's
you flush a toilet, it really doesn't
like
flush well. It kind of
right. You've got like an air pocket up there where it's not supposed to be, or something like that.
and but yeah, that'll throw you off too. It's like that was my thing with the hurricane here. I was like, man, on top of all this other crap and on top of tree branches falling over the place, on top of me worrying about the house, I gotta get a plumber out here, man. But
So I
it was
did see
just
one
physics.
house in Morgan City. It was an older house. It was near Lake Palourde. Had a flat roof on it. The the couple had moved in 3 months ago. Fairly young couple. They had solar panels installed on the flat roof, and apparently, wind got in between the panels and the roof, pulled the whole roof off.
Man,
I mean, they're sitting in their house looking at sky.
I I feel for people.
Yeah.
Now, in general, I'm like, "Ugh." Every time I see I hate those solar panels. I hate them. Hate them, hate them, hate them. They got some on houses around here too, because they almost pay you to put them on there.
Yeah.
Uh, Eyesores, they're ugly, and you know darn well they're going to cause problems. Now that's the first time I hear somebody's roof being blown off because of
Yeah.
them. But well, I'm sorry to hear that for them. But come on, come
But you
on.
also come across people, and I honestly don't know what my homeowner's deductible is, let alone if I've got a separate deductible for hurricane stuff.
Yeah.
But met somebody whose deductible was $19,000. Met another guy whose deductible was $38,000.
Yeah, at that point, you're basically, if your house is blown away,
Yeah.
I guess you're gonna
But he
get.
didn't, that dude, the one, the $38,000 one, didn't blink. I said, man, that must be kind of cool.
So he had more than $38,000 of damage. Is that
Yeah, he had a big old house and there was a lot of stuff that was messed up. So he's probably got, to replace his roof. My friend said probably, 70, $80,000.
oh, how big a house is it? What?
I don't know. It was, I'm guessing over 5,000 square feet, but it was like
Like
an
to say, because
architectural roof. It had like the slate stuff on the
yeah, they're fancy roofs.
caps
Yeah,
and
because
yeah.
I know somewhere in the future I got to replace a roof in Thibodeau, even though it's a 50-something-year-old roof, and I guess I just knock wood and I'm telling you, shout out to asbestos and cement slats, man. Say what you want, but yeah, well,
But
so
yeah,
anyway,
we
we
met
hope.
this one talked to a lady who's a teacher, and she's saying all of her other teachers were saying, I hope we don't get it bad. I hope we don't get it bad. She said, well, to be honest, I feel bad about saying this, but I need a new roof. So,
Well, so it pays for a little bit of it, I guess.
yeah, but it depends on your deductible.
Well, and your deductible and how old it is too. I mean, they don't just come in and give you, right? They don't.
Yeah,
They
you
don't
can't have a 30-year-old roof
exactly.
and
Yeah, once they carve all that stuff out there. But so yeah, so again, we hope everybody
yeah.
is recovered and getting there. I got to be honest, and I thought about this when it happened here a couple of months ago, and during this one too, seeing some footage and knowing what was I could see the cameras, some stuff before. Dude, I'm amazed anything is still around after a hurricane. A legit hurricane, legit like you are in the eye wall. That's some, and then afterwards, repair. We expect, and look, I'm the same guy. I'm being a hypocrite. I was complaining 2 months ago here in Houston how horribly they handled getting the power back on, and I know people are frustrated back in South Louisiana. It's just one of those things. It's just if somebody up the street or the town over, everybody always thinks everybody's playing favorites.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's that one. If you got the money, that's what and I'm not even saying that doesn't happen, but it's not really what happens. I mean, it tends to be.
No, it's the only way to ensure that you get up first is if you're on the same grid as a hospital.
Yeah, pretty much. Hospital, water plants, that kind of
Right,
stuff.
right. Those type of utility facilities,
And
pharmacy or stuff like that.
and in general, if you're kind of rural, they do look at that too. It's like, I'd like to get to you in the 12 houses.
Right, right. But I can do the same amount of work and get 1,200 up. That's why I was so shocked that my dad got up so quick.
And your dad, for those of the people who don't know, is in Napoleonville,
He's
right?
in Pankerville, man. Get it
Sorry.
right. Get it right, dude. That's Napoleonville wishes they were Pankerville.
It's a ville. It's a
Yeah,
ville.
it's right down the street.
Napoleon, Panker,
Yeah.
whatever. It's a ville. Okay, but I'm glad he got it. And we I think our house ran on generator for a bit. That the transformer blew up right near Nichols, right outside.
Yeah.
And that's kind of funny because I get again, and like my nephew and the people staying there, texting me asking for, like, what should we? Because apparently there was a transformer that started to go out, and it would make a noise like it'd blow up when something would hit
Yeah.
it, and it would kick and the generator would come on, and then the generator would go off again because I guess power. So it's going back.
Yeah.
So they were worried about it being
Yeah, it
so,
could be like, I think if the wind is blowing the wire, the power
yeah.
line a certain way near a transformer, it'll charge it. But then if it's not, it doesn't fry it all the way.
So as a general rule, y'all, I mean, and it happened here in Houston, and people get lazy, and I guess it costs money, so they don't do it. But you got to cut them trees off those lines, man. I mean, you pre-storm, you can drive around and say, y'all losing power here, because that tree ain't gonna make it, and that line.
Well, especially down home where there's all those oak trees. When you got when those big old oak tree branches, which will sway up and down.
Got that in our yard, man.
Mhm.
Got that in the yard there. But all right, so glad that's over. Hopefully, people, good luck with the recovery and all these other things.
Now, one more thing about the hurricane. Apparently, Martin Falls at HTV in Houma has some surefire way to project the path of a hurricane with some stick.
He calls it the stick. I know the
Which-
stick. And everybody, back home, they tell me, "Oh, Martin's got the stick." Look, credit to him. I like it. It's a good, and I guess it makes sense. I don't know, man. He's always, and I forget exactly how to
Yeah,
say
I
it.
don't even know. I just saw a picture of a stick across the computer screen.
Yeah, and I forget how I guess what he does sort of makes sense about, but it also, I kind of take Martin's stick like I took, what's his name? Justin Wilson with his teaspoon of, you don't think that's a teaspoon? Watch this. He poured it in his hand, and then he would pour it out there, and then like magically, right? Always, I got a feeling that Martin has a way of making that stick work. But
he's it's fitting for what has made him successful down there.
He does. And I listen. I had, and to his credit, I listened to on the app. I got the HTV app on my phone, listening to it quite a bit. Be honest, I enjoy his conversation. I enjoy the folks he interacts with. I cringe like crazy when they go live. Y'all, I got to tell you something. If you want to, if you have any issue or any problems about stereotypes of the Bayou, or right, if you get offended, when people make fun of our heritage, and you better not be listening to the live call-ins on HTV, because Lord, oh my Lord,
that's all the stereotypes on the phone line.
woo, man. But yeah, but hey, shout out, good on him. Something interesting happened just down the street from where I'm sitting right now. So I'm in Sugar Land, maybe a mile and a half, 2 miles from here. When you go down, drive, and you hook up, but one of the ways we can hook up here with Highway 90, there's a Murphy Express gas station. It's adjacent to the car wash that I so lovingly and generously gave my wife an annual
membership,
right?
which I'm
So
sure she's utilizing frequently.
She has. I used it a couple times. She has. I mean, so right there, that Murphy Express last week sold the winning lotto ticket.
Oh, all right.
$600 million.
Wow.
Somebody down the street here won $600 million. And I'm happy because I promise you that's not a let's just say that's not an affluent store. It's not it's not in the hood, but it's it's a blue collar at best little, and I tank up there all the time because you know me, I'm a hardworking blue collar man, man. But that's
Hey,
so I don't know.
the store gets probably over $1 million
They'll
when
be
they
happy.
sell the big ticket. Yeah.
They'll be happy. But what's funny is, people just human nature, because we humans don't understand math. We don't understand
Yes. Odds.
causation, correlation. So you hear that the ticket was sold right here, and people are like, oh, could have been me if I'd have been the one there buying the ticket at that. No, it's
At
not
that
how it
exact
works. So
time. No, not how it
it
works.
has absolutely nothing to do with, it's just neat to know where it was bought, because you know that somebody just became about a $500
Well,
million.
but it's also knowing where it was purchased. Probably a gazillion other people are now going to go buy a ticket there.
People are going to be now. And so I don't, that's not tied to it. Now, I was going to say, in the history of the lottery, I wonder how many times the winning ticket was sold at the, repeat at the same place. I guess it's possible. It must have happened. But no,
Yeah, I don't know. I never play just because, yeah, I got nothing against it. I don't think about it. My dad plays regularly.
my dad, rest his soul, with, man, and I'm not kidding when I say this. Later, before he became where it was tough for him to drive, and when he toward the end, he really, it was not really safe for him to be
Yeah.
um uh, driving alone or whatever. He'd get if even if it wasn't feeling good, he'd get his butt up and into the car and drive himself to a not great part of town to buy his tickets, man. Let's say.
Yeah. The only time my dad ever asked me to look up something on the internet is if he missed the winning numbers and he wants to know.
My wife will do that. She'll all of a sudden, when it gets big, and she's got plans, man. She's got plans. That's what's so funny. What would you just tell me? What would you do with the money? I'm like, you know what? That's something I'm not going to waste any brain cells on.
Yeah, no, that's what Daddy said last weekend when it was 600. He said, "If I win, how much you want?" I said, "I don't know. I guess 2 million." And he said, "Two? It's 600 million. Your share would be 200 million." I said, "Well, all right. I guess 200. You asked me."
Well, you need to tell your dad that the winning ticket was, because
Yeah.
I know he's not listening to the podcast. You need to tell your dad that winning ticket was right down the street,
Right by your house.
man. So I'm going to be buying him. So if he wants me to, I'll start buying him his tickets. It's like a fishing hole. We're going to go back to that spot, because that's where it's at.
But although, do you think it's like if you're in a casino and somebody hits big on a slot machine, then I would avoid that slot machine?
Well, in theory, the machine, but that's not even supposed to be how it works. The machines are, they'd
Yeah,
say,
it's all arbitrary.
they said in the old days, in the old machines, before everything was totally electronic and computerized.
Yeah, because they'd have to
then,
load up again with some money to get money in it.
or they would figure, now it just doesn't. It's supposedly always just
same odds.
open the chance. But
I do tell people I prefer to fly after a recent plane crash, though, because I think the pilots are being more careful.
I've thought about that too myself sometimes. Like, or my thing is like, what are the odds? It's so rare that a plane crash happens. What are the odds you got 2 in a week, right? So, yeah, again, nothing to do with anything, but like I said before, the only thing, I feel a lot better. It's not so much playing the odds. It's like when I'm getting on a plane. What do I like to see when I'm getting on a plane? Gray freaking hair in the cockpit. I like, man, I want the salt and pepper. I don't want somebody who's just like, obviously, like,
somebody who's got a shiny new graduation ring.
don't want that, man. I want the salt and pepper, you know, probably maybe even a little ex-military. You know, that's that's when I sit in the cinema seat and go, ah, this is good. This is good. But what else? What else is happening here? Um,
I talked about the rock and roll news. John Bon Jovi apparently steps in and helps talk a girl off a ledge or off a bridge. He was somewhere filming a music video and heard the news that there was a girl right down the road on a bridge who was, threatening to jump. And I think he offered to write a song for her or something. I don't know. I don't think he did that.
the least believable thing about that story is that John Bon Jovi is shooting a music video.
Yeah.
I mean, what the heck? Like, why? What are
I don't even
you?
know where they play music videos anymore.
I think everything's online. I'm sure
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can
Okay. I guess YouTube and,
people watch
uh,
the stuff. I mean,
Vimeo and stuff. So, but also Jane's Addiction, a band that I'm not a fan of Jane's Addiction, never have been.
no, there's one of those bands that are known for
Yeah.
being, you know, they're known. And did they sing I got caught stealing?
Yeah, I think that was it. That's the only song I know.
All right, that was a good song. I'll give them that. Had the dog bark at it. Woof, woof, woof.
Yeah, and the only reason I know that because if ever you read an article about an artist on USA or on Fox News or any other, yeah, they'll instead of just referring to the person by their last name for the second or third reference, they'll then say, the been caught stealing writer.
Okay.
And so the singer, I don't know, they said he was drinking the whole time on stage, which is shocking, but started cussing at the audience. And then what's the guy's name? I forgot his name.
Okay,
The
one
bass
is
player from the
Navarro.
tattoo show. Yeah.
Is it something
Navarro.
David Navarro?
Dave Navarro. Yeah, Dave Navarro.
Whatever.
Kind of tried to calm him down and the dude punched him. So they brought the house lights down and shut her down.
I feel about that about the same way I feel about somebody's house blown away with the solar panels. Don't want to hear it, but kind of you kind of got what was gonna happen. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess if you're a fan of Jane's, I mean, to me, I'd be almost. The only thing I'd be really mad about is if they hadn't sang that song yet, because that's
Well, apparently it was towards the end of the show because they said people just thought it was some people there thought it was like just a bit.
oh, okay, because that'd be kind of cool to me. It's like, yeah, go and let me hear you sing the only song I really want you to sing, and then get in a fight. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, let it make it go along.
Let me watch that. I mean, that'd be all good. But thinking about talking about coming toward the end, as we're coming toward the end of Earth as we know it, and no, y'all. So it's you see things sometimes. This was during the week, and the fact that this is not being talked about nonstop is kind of shocking. And it was an interview with Putin. Now I know the fact I just said that we are going to be throttled down on, so nobody may be seeing this anymore because we were talking about a topic they don't want you to talk about. But it was an interview with Putin about. He was asked about the fact that it looks like America. You can say NATO, but understand this, y'all. There is no NATO. NATO
Right,
technically
right.
exists, but it's us. Everything. It's pure. We run it. It's our show. Getting ready to give permission to Ukraine, whatever's left of it, whatever the military right, to use long distance missiles that only we make and only we know how to use. So in other words, when you're giving them permission,
Yeah.
you're basically saying is we are going to do this
Right, we'll do it for you. We'll show you how.
with
You can't go on YouTube and find out how to do that or anything.
which would send long range missiles into Russia. And Putin, I mean, hate him if you want, don't understand, whatever your stance is, very, as opposed to what we have, very succinctly and calmly
Emphatically.
and coherently explain that would be a declaration of war from NATO. And if that happens, the retaliation will be, it will not likely start World War III.
Yeah,
He,
open game.
he says, you're basically saying you are getting ready to start war. And now I read some stuff today that, hey, we got some nukes that we know how to use around. And it's the begin. It's and you hear this stuff, and you would think, Juan, that like that should be everybody in the world right now talking about. Hey, wait a
Yeah.
minute. The guy in charge of the largest nuclear arsenal in the world, who by the way is now buddy with our technically biggest competitor, China. So like is saying, hey, you know what y'all saying y'all about to do? And
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
got,
Do it.
well, it's sort of like, and here's the other thing that I don't think these people get. Putin's not a young guy. Okay. You start dealing with leaders who are, you know, best case scenario, he's got another 10 years, give or
Mhm.
take. Now of course, I don't know, maybe the rich and powerful, they may be injected themselves with a different kind of blood. I don't know how they they may have the fountain of youth figured out, but I don't think you go looking to
No, you
and
don't pick on. You don't go start a fight with a nut.
I don't think he's a nut. I,
Well,
I
it's
but
at least
I
we can
think
take comfort in knowing that our the chief commander is on top of things, wherever he is.
who is, right? We talked about that before. Who is? We don't nobody knows. But yeah, we're getting far more coverage of an equally dangerous thing, which is the eating of pets in Springfield,
Yeah,
Ohio. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that it's 100%. I've seen video. Have you seen the videos? I mean, they got
I think the dude said that. I don't know that he was. I think he was very mad at something and may have exaggerated. I said I didn't read the thing today. I don't
they
know.
got foot. I've seen the footage of the guy walking with the goose. I mean, I've seen the footage of the guy. Joked about that last week, and somebody had a meme or something said something about this guy's walking with this goose like he just went to Chick-fil-A. You know, I mean, like he just right now they're talking about cats and everything, and it's interesting. Something I read today that said Trump may visit Springfield, Ohio.
Yeah, he would, but but you got that, and then I saw a clip from I guess uh Vice President Harris did another interview with the station or local station in Philadelphia, and the guy asked her for specifics on her economic plan on how she was going to get prices down, and apparently she grew up in a neighborhood where people prided themselves on their lawn care.
It was I saw clips of that, and I don't know that I stuck with it long enough for the lawn
I
care.
think he followed up, and I mean, I heard a good minute, and it was rambling, and I think he followed up, and she came back with the $50,000 first time home. Is it $25,000 for a first time home buyer? $50,000 to start a new business, and $6,000 if you get a kid.
Guys, none of that's going to happen. None of that works, right?
No, no, you
None of that
gotta
is
hope
remotely
it don't happen.
none of that is remotely possible,
I
y'all.
don't
So
care if you're a first time home buyer who's expecting a baby and planning to start a new business. You don't want that to happen.
it is, but here's what's even more frustrating about that. I mean, politicians have lied since the beginning of time. That's what politicians do. And it tends to be the longer you're in politics, the more just polished of a liar you get. But there was a time where the quality of the lies were a little higher than they are now. Now, I don't know if that's because our politicians are dumber or we're dumber. Is it
Well,
possible that because you go back and you watch footage of presidential debates or interviews with Kennedy, Nixon, even Lyndon Johnson, you know, Eisenhower, they used big words. They
mhm.
talked, proper language, and they talked about economics in ways that made sense. And right, it was an
Well,
intelligent
at least
conversation.
they had a philosophy. Whether they would come up with specifics or not, it was Reagan's trickle down economics. That's it makes sense. So you can't make sense of giving away something that's not yours, that you don't have.
Yeah. Or the idea that we just go stick it to the rich people. Well,
Right.
first of all, they keep redefining rich
Yeah.
down. Okay. So I guess if you're dirt, if you're like just plain broke, you're dirt poor. Well, somebody who is, or like you owe money, you're in debt. Well, to use somebody who is not in debt, they don't have any asset. I mean, like
Yeah.
they don't have big savings or nothing, but at least they're not in debt. Well, that person seems like a rich person.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
don't,
I've told you, I've talked about this before. When Joey and I opened years ago, we foolishly opened a retail business.
there you go.
Um, and the amount of people who just assumed we were, rolling in it
Rolling.
because we, first of all, opened it. And then I had a guy who worked for me said, "So all that money you come get out of
Yeah.
the cash register at night, that's yours, right?" It's like, no, very little of it's mine. If I'm lucky, I might have a little bit of it.
Yeah. So that's probably one of the reasons that over time, and I kind of, I don't want a conspiracy. I don't think it's a conspiracy theory. You just kind of look, okay, this is how it makes sense. There's got to be a reason why along the way they stopped teaching civics. Civics used to be, when I was in junior high, I guess it was, you had a
Yeah, I
civics
had it in
class.
ninth grade, Mr. Daze.
You had civics class. And what did civics teach you? It taught you how stuff's supposed to work,
Mm-hmm.
right? Society, American. This is how it works. And it would, well, look, some of the best cartoons as a child was, the Scholastic Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock.
Man, Schoolhouse Rock. How a bill becomes a law. To this day, that's probably some of the best educated. Now we can make fun of it because we know that. Oh yeah, that's how they used to
Mm-hmm.
make laws. Now,
Now it's all the extra stuff they slide into that bill.
you got to buy it. I'll give credit to, was it Thomas Massey, is a representative from Kentucky. He is he's what I wish John Kennedy was. Foghorn Leghorn, the senator
Mhm.
from Louisiana, who is smart. I want to say Kennedy's a Rhodes Scholar, wasn't he?
I don't know. I just, it's hard for me to buy into the Foghorn Leghorn
Right.
thing.
He's a yeah. He gets a little bit annoying because he's a very, very smart guy and he's playing a role. And he talks all that stuff and he gives good sound bites. But
Yeah, and you said that, like when he travels, he's on a plane with a pen and paper coming up with one-liners.
oh, it wasn't me that said that, but I
No,
took.
somebody said that basically that's his deal. He's always sitting there coming up with one-liners and finding opportunities to work them in.
Which is kind of insulting because if you're obviously smart enough to do so, but what happens is then he'll end up, he's not always going to vote the way you want him to vote, and he's always making he's DC. He's become a DC creature. Well, Massey is the guy you wish Kennedy could be. He's legit. He is like I mean, he's really libertarian at the end of the day, but he gave a brilliant 5 or 6 minute speech the other day when they were going through some appropriations. And he was saying that he goes, "I will not be part of this this theater." And he talks about, "Let me tell you exactly what's going to happen here." And man, he he put it out there. He went after the Republicans. He went after Speaker Johnson, basically saying this is what's going to happen. And oh, we're going to pound our fist and we're going to pretend we're doing something. And everything we insert into this bill is going to come out, and it will. You know why? Because we're not fighting. Because everybody in here wants to continue spending money. We don't have, and it just, and you go like, yeah. I used to want to say that I hope that guy has Secret Service protection, but now we know that doesn't mean anything either. So you probably better off without it. But
Well, and they're lazy, because when it gets in or whatever, it's like, well, we're getting to the end of the month or whatever, to the budget period. It's like, if we don't pass it, we got to hang out here. I'd rather go home.
oh yeah,
Yes, it's like your average person at 3 o'clock on a Friday. Yeah, they don't want to work anymore. These guys like, hey, I ain't hanging out here.
and nobody wants to be. None of them want to be the people responsible for trying to get it, for taking the hit, for trying to get it back where, and it's, well, the way to the way that I would say you need to fix things is, see, DC itself is part of the problem. It's too concentrated.
Mhm.
All the power's there, all the Like people get elected and they go there and that's where they live now. That's their livelihood. Like the fools out here in the hinterlands that think that they're representing us, most of them are not. That's what you got to break up. You got to take this department of whatever, stick that in Kansas. Take
Good point. Yeah.
right, take all these, get it out of freaking DC. Supreme Court, I don't know, put that in Dubuque. I don't care. Like we're all wired anyway. There's no reason that so you might have to have the House and then change the rules. Like Texas does this, and again, I'm not an expert on Texas how it operates, but they meet every other year. Like like it's designed to no. You're not coming and living in Austin. You're not going to come. This is not. You got to be.
Right.
No. Look, we got crooks too. They cut their deals left and right, but you got to get it out of there. You got all the lobbyists. At least make them work. Don't
travel to where you are.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
put the department. That's a great idea. I mean, put the departments where they're where that industry is concentrated or that interest.
Sure.
Put the Department of Agriculture in Iowa. Put the Department of Energy in Texas.
100%. FBI, I forget where they have another, I forget where they have another, they have locations everywhere, but 100% stick something down in Florida. That's where half the country's moving to anyway.
Yeah.
Take, put the Supreme Court in Florida.
Yeah.
That would be they're old. The heat would be good.
Put the Department of Immigration at the border.
Man, I got to start taking notes, Juan. We're going to send this episode to Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah.
And let him make some but yeah, they're
also contributing to local economies.
That's it. Trying to think. I don't think I have to go to DC, but I was kidding with kidding. It's one of these things I kid, not half kid, about some travel coming up and stuff. I'm trying to front load as much stuff as I can because I hope I'm wrong, y'all. I hope I'm wrong, but I got a sinking feeling that late October, that, they're because what's happening right now is, and this is where there's a lot of panic setting in with some of the, the powers that be. It's becoming painfully obvious to some that if things go the way they're going and there's no,
I think they will.
And there's no way to cheat again, or maybe not again, whatever. It's looking like Trump. He's looking pretty strong. He's looking like it's gonna happen. So and if you don't know who I'm talking about when I say they, God bless you, because you're living a good life and you got a lot more peace in your life because you don't know what's going on. But they cannot let that happen, right? So, I mean, I think everything's on the table as far as, these foreign. That's the thing I like too. Now, that's when you got to start getting scared, is when they start floating out this country's, after us here and that country's after us here, and they start playing all this stuff about, who's, whether it's an assassination attempt or something else, setting up the story of, wasn't us.
Yeah.
I told you Paraguay wanted to take our power grid down. Dang Paraguay. We need to bomb those guys. I don't think I could find Paraguay on the map.
I could not. I couldn't tell you what continent Paraguay's on.
But that doesn't matter. I mean, most folks couldn't find Ukraine on a map if you gave them half an hour.
But they had those blue and yellow ribbons.
But we're getting ready to trip. We're getting ready to trip into World War III for that. So, oh well, it's one of those things. I don't want to bring it down, Juan. We're just talking about hurricanes, and that's sad.
You're on a football game tomorrow. It's football season. LSU won today.
Barely,
dude. Yeah, that's gonna be a long season. Man,
come on, LSU. Come on, LSU. What's I I just upset that they barely beat South Carolina because it's making my Nichols Colonels game not look as
Yeah,
good
it
as it
kind of,
did.
it made it less of a win. I mean,
You
less
know,
of
of a good game. You know,
yeah.
my boys in Nichols walked onto Death Valley and hung in there, and I was like, And then I'm watching the game. Well, I didn't see the whole game. I saw the end of it. I had
Yeah.
stuff going on. I saw the end of it. But yeah, I tried. That yeah, it's long, long year ahead, I think. You know what I did this past week? So with this past week, we went to theater here. It's the touring show of Dear Evan Hansen, which is a fantastic show. I don't know if you're ever familiar with.
No, not heard of it.
We saw it on Broadway about 5 years ago, before the world shut down, 5 or 6 years ago, when it was on its original Broadway run. Just really, really top notch. It's like, as much as I hate most of what Broadway and that clique, and as much as I don't like some of the things they do and push, they got some brilliant stuff that comes out, talented, entertaining. It's a great Dear Evan Hansen's. We saw it there. There's a touring show here in Houston, pretty big, the Hobby Center, and it was fantastic. It was fantastic. But you learn these things that right before it starts, and then during intermission, well, you want to sprint. You want to sprint to those bathrooms because it's a lot of people there, and it'll go from there's not a line much for the
Right.
bathroom to, okay, there's a 15-minute line now, like that. So timer, boom, boom, had to know what I'm doing. And I learned that there's a trick I know down at Hobby, where there's a concession stand down there. There's one, on the first level, the second level, and there's one at the bottom where some of the bathrooms are. And everybody goes in. There's an entrance. There's no door, but there's a big entrance kind of hallway you go in through there. And then there's the exit. The exit comes out there. So that's how it flows. Well, I know that if you just go in through the exit to borrow the Prince line, you go in through the outdoor. Okay. You just basically walk right in there.
It's like
But
you're wearing a raspberry beret. You got it.
because the way it's designed, people that are standing, waiting, it's hard for them to even see what's
Yeah.
available. And they're like rows of urinals and stalls and whatever. And it's hard for them to see. But you come in the other way, boom, in a heartbeat. And nobody really notices that you came in through the wrong way, because they might just think like, oh, you came around the side and you're just trying to find a urinal or something. So I'm giving away. I'm just gonna count on the fact I
No, but
don't
I've done
think.
that at LSU at Tiger Stadium. It's like that. If
Okay,
you pay close attention, you can see it's not labeled "Do not enter
correct.
or exit."
Now you
Just
might get
sure
yelled at if
nobody's going
somebody
in there.
sees it,
Yeah.
and that's not going to happen in a theater. Typically, the people in the
Right.
theater are
No,
not.
I just gonna if somebody says something, I said, "Oh man, my bad. I didn't realize this. My first time here."
So I was hurrying to do that, right, at this Evan Hansen show, and man, I come hustling down, and oh man, I got it. Ooh, it's wide open, and I walk on in there, and where are the urinals? I walked into the ladies' room.
Oh, you should have just gone with it, man.
Well, it's hard to go with it when you walk in and there are ladies walking out, and but so I'm in view of the. Thankful there are stalls and you can't see
Yeah.
them, but I just went, "Whoo, sorry, wrong one," and a couple of the ladies were laughing. Yeah, wrong one, wrong one. Turn back around. Oh man, I just embarrassed. Just had to hurry because I wasted all that time. I had to hurry to the next.
Yeah, go make sure. And now you're, the clock's ticking.
And I did go through the outdoor of the other big urinal. And then I get in there and I realize there's like a wall and there's like another wall of urinals in the back. And I walk back there and they're half empty because nobody can see them. So I do my business. And then being the good guy that I am, Juan, even though I came in the wrong door, I went around and found the line and started being a traffic cop, saying, "Hey
Yeah,
guys,
yeah. Three in the back. Three in the
plenty,
back.
plenty. Keep moving, keep moving." So I kind of,
You
I
paid it forward.
I got right with my own conscience for.
You
I
were a
don't
blessing to those people,
I
Dave.
was a blessing. I was a blessing to those people. My conscience might have been like, yeah, I don't think that technically counts as cutting. I don't think it does.
No, no. Anybody else could have gone through that line.
What I'm saying, but some would beg to
Counts as
differ.
smart.
I get exactly using right there. right there. This is for something more than wearing a cap right here. I got it. I got it. But yeah, we'll be at the Texans home opener. It's on Sunday Night Football. Look for it. I'd say look for us. You're never gonna see us. If you see footage outside tailgating, you may see us. But yeah, we're gonna be. These are upper deck. I'm kind of actually looking forward to it because over the years I've become I'm not a snob when it comes to that kind of stuff. But for me to be at a game, whether it's an NBA game or an
Yeah.
NFL game, or heck, even Major League game, it's got to be some good seats because I can watch this at home, right?
Man,
So,
depending where you are in the upper deck, and now granted, I've never been into that stadium. But when I had Saints season tickets, I was in the upper deck. I was about 9 rows up on the 50, which love those seats.
uh, these seats are basically you walk until you hit the window. Like you go up until you cannot go up anymore. And that's the seats. Almost 20 years now. I was the original season ticket holder on these seats, and eventually, I dropped them, but a friend's picked up, and it's the
All
same,
right.
and they picked them up some more along the way, and then there were 2 seats that they were going to free up because people come and go, and
Mm-hmm.
but these guys are, I mean, shout out, it's the Texans, it's the Fambulance, it's Texas first responders, tailgate first
Oh, okay.
responders. Man, they'd be yelling at me for not remembering what the name of the thing is. But no, they send out during the week what's the menu, and everybody's saying what they're cooking and bringing, and it ain't hot dogs, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of effort, man.
One guy's bringing white sauce chicken, the other one's bringing boudin bread and something else. One's bringing Mexican something poppers and blah 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 blah. And
At
I gotta
least it's
figure.
in the evening, so you have time to
Well, this
enjoy
game
it.
is,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I'm
they
saying
get,
when you gotta do that for a 12 o'clock game, that's a lot.
bro, they roll into that parking lot at 8. And I think tomorrow the gates open at, I don't know, 3:30 or 4 o'clock, I guess. But it's gonna be hot. I was
Yeah.
looking at it's Houston, y'all. It's gonna be 95 tomorrow. And they're playing with the roof open. They never play with the roof open at NRG. But going back to Hurricane, I guess it was Beryl. Beryl must have took they lost 1 or 2 panels. Like one of the so if you look at it on TV, it was kind of messed up. It'd be shadow and then like a big thing. So they've announced that tomorrow they're going to be. So it's going to be freaking hot. Although
Dude,
our seats are
yeah.
so high up in the air, I'm pretty sure it's a little
You might catch
cooler
a
up there.
breeze.
I think it's cooler up there. I think it's just like literally the altitude is
I don't know. It's last week at the LSU Nichols game. The weather was pleasant, because it was overcast. But after the game, walking back to the car was just so hot. And I told Jerry, I said, "Man, feel this on my head." And she almost threw up. She put her hand on my head, and I was just jacking with it because this was like sweating. Oh yeah, man, so I was surprised she fell for that.
fell for that. I know, honey, that was
But
made me feel bad. You weren't supposed to do that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And thankfully, in this case, like you said, the hard part with folks that do the Tigers tailgatings, man, they'll get out there night before. They still do that, right? Some folks go like
LSU, yeah, they'll park. Oh yeah, they'll park like at 4 the afternoon before to get their spot because you don't have.
the day before the game.
Yeah, like you at LSU, you don't buy your spot. Like I know some colleges like Ole Miss and everything, you pay for your spot. So it's
Right.
there. It's like your seat. Um, but you'll find the same people in the same spot year after year after
Yeah.
year after year.
Well, that's
And
the guys
because they
I'm
get
with.
there
They're
way early.
there. They go. In fact, they figured out a way. I'm not. Well, nobody's gonna do it. They beat security there sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, they get in a lot before security gets there. So, and when I say that, it's fenced in. I don't even know how they do it. I guess I'm going to learn that. But uh, thankfully, they don't open the parking lots in early because these guys would
Because
be
they'd
there.
be there.
So 4 hours, 5 hours of pregame. The only down part about that to me is, man, I can't hold it for 4 hours.
Yeah, because then you got to find a bathroom.
Then you got to use a portalet. There ain't no
Yeah.
bathroom. Once you go in, there's a bathroom. Yeah, I'm not a big. Hey man, I'm not a prima donna, but I'm not a big portalet fan.
I'm okay using the portalet if it's got the little urinal in it, because then
Oh,
I
they
go
all do
in.
now. They all
I
do
go
now.
in with my right eye closed and I
Yeah.
turn my head.
Oh yeah.
So I don't ever see
You don't want to deal with any of that nonsense. Oh my gosh. No, and I guess in all this time, all these years, nobody's come up with whenever I'm in a portalet, I'm in my mind trying to think, well, whenever I could design a better one of these. Somebody
They've got some that are like multi-stall
yeah,
units. It's like a trailer. It's got air
right.
conditioning in it. It's still a portalet, but it's not. Yeah, it's just like, it's better than.
You don't feel like you're going to the bathroom in what somebody else just did.
Right. Or
Yeah.
you're not looking through the little vented, the little screen thing out at people lined up while you're going.
At least if you have that, you might be getting some air through there. Man, I'm just looking forward to a 95-degree day tomorrow, and I know it's going to be interesting. I'm not beyond finding an empty bottle. It reminds me, I got to pack one of those.
Yeah. Get a Gatorade jug. Those are good.
I volunteered for the tailgate group here to buy a new canopy. They got canopies. You can buy one I saw at Sam's that comes with you can actually have it. It's almost like a changing where you can put the hang some of the curtains.
Yeah.
It's almost like a changing, not a
Mhm.
stall, but I told them, I said, hey, that's darn near a bathroom right there, but they didn't want
Dude,
to.
that's what I saw that from Mardi Gras.
Yep.
Put your 5-gallon bucket in there, you're good.
Tell you what, I might do some lobbying for that tomorrow.
Yeah. So last week I mentioned that my cousin and his wife ended up in on
Right.
ESPN. Apparently she was not happy that I did that, because when I posted the podcast on my page, you can see the comment, "Really, Juan?" with like an angry face emoji.
Nobody knows who she is. Man, come
Right.
on.
Now I'm want to say, Jesus Christ, really? You surprised that I did that?
Hey, man, it's for the peeps, man. You're all about entertaining the peeps, Juan.
That's what I'm here to try.
If your embarrassment equals entertainment for someone else, your job is to be the conduit. The conduit.
Exactly.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Well,
I know
speaking
what
of,
we're gonna do.
get on up out of here, y'all. It's about time. The buffet is laid before you. We're gonna push the button. See if any of this stuff stuck to the magical tape in the sky. If you want to reach us, besides something, yelling at Juan about the hurricane and not pretending that it was not a big deal, it's
I didn't
Dave.
say it wasn't a big deal.
Well, okay, it sounded that way. It's Dave and Juan at protonmail.com and all the other places you found us. Hopefully you got
Right
power
here.
back. Yeah. Wherever you have power and able to listen or watch, look for that next time. Look for that next time we'll be back. Every week we tell you, not a hint, suggestion, subtle implication. It's a
freaking mandate, man.
mandate. Go live your best life. Get out there. Try to live your best life. I'm
Look,
gonna try
for some
to
of you, the bar from this past week is, it's pretty low. It'd be a lot easier to step up this week.
But here's the good news. If you're hearing us or looking at us right now, you made it. You made it. It might not have been the most fun, but you made it. I'm gonna try to do mine. I may be standing in a portalet in 95-degree humid day in Houston tomorrow. Now, granted, that's self-inflicted.
Yeah.
I can hold it for 4 or 5 hours, but not if I'm partaking.
Not if you're drinking.
And if you're not drinking, why are you going?
Exactly.
It's one of those. I know that's bad. That's a bad example, but not over. I don't intend to over.
Well, but you can at the tailgate, because then, if you're not drinking for the whole, you got a long time to, cut back.
Oh yeah, no, everybody knows you. If you go drink beer, you do it before you go into that game.
Yeah, unless you got a lot of money.
You may get one for decoration to sip on when you're in there, but no, man. Yeah, we ain't got that. We ain't got paying Texans NFL prices on beer money. That's a little ridiculous. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. All right, everybody, get out there, live your best life. We will try to do the same, and we'll get together next week, do it all over again. Sound good? Sound good.
Sound good.
All right. Love you, bro.
Back at you, man. My dad's neighbors, and I know who they are. I know they're the guy's grandparents. I mean, it's, you know, it's an area where it's the same family that grew up. They live across the pasture from them, but they have 3 daughters and teenage girls in college age and stuff. The day after the storm, they went to my dad's house and cleaned the yard for him.
Oh, nice.
He was so touched. And you know, he's a salty old man, but he got a big heart. And when he doesn't have electricity, he doesn't have a phone, so I couldn't get in touch with him until yesterday. But they're so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I mean, he could not get over that.
Hey, so next time he wins something in bingo,
There you go, bringing it next door.
that's right. That's cute. That's
I'm
good.
just surprised he wasn't disappointed that he couldn't do it himself or didn't get to do it himself.
Or tell you, Juan, where were you?
Yeah, I was waiting. I waited a couple of days before I called the offer.
Figured somebody would get it.
Yeah, because that's what when I said, well, I can come tomorrow if you need. He said, you can't do this stuff. You're still recovering from that hernia. I said, oh yeah, good point. We're recovering from that all hurricane season.
It's over. Go home.